Hello, welcome to the video. In today's video we're going to take a look at the Krookodile. This Pokemon is something that we want to take a look at anyway, as it's going to be one of the hardest answers to Pokemon like the Morpeko, which I was expecting to be very more common in the Halloween Cup. So today we're going to have a team here with the Toxapex in the lead, the Save-Up of the Eradicate, and now of course the Krookodile being able to smack down those Pokemon here with that Mudslap buffed. Very cool thing here for sure, as you're gonna see as well. A move that I didn't know this Pokemon learned, which is really good for it, is going to be Brick Break. Brick Break is going to allow you to drop the opponent's defense guaranteed. It's the cheapest move this Pokemon can learn, and I had no idea before we looking at this Pokemon here that this Pokemon would learn this move. And yeah, Brick Break is a cool move to have on this Pokemon. Gets it a lot of usability with that one as well. Here we're gonna see a Morpeko, of course, now in the first battle as well, which is funny because we don't get the correct alignment with it. But still, it is definitely something that is going to be like a Pokemon that we can still deal with here, because as you're going to see as well, we can use a shield with Eradicate. They go for the Psychic Fangs, it's totally fine, because now they change their form to the Dark-type form, allowing us to resist every single hit from the opponent, allowing us to go for the Crunch here, getting a shield, and we can let the move go through now. It's guaranteed resisted. There's not really a reason for me to use a shield on anything, and as you can see here, the Aura Wheel is not going to be enough to knock us out. We're going to be able to go for the CMP tie now against the opponent. They go for the Psychic Fangs again, that's fine for me, and they decide to forfeit. So, what is my opinion on the Krookodile generally speaking? I think it's a very interesting Pokemon, a very interesting concept. What I would love to see for this Pokemon, which I think would help this Pokemon out a ton, would be a Shadow variant of it. I think it would be kind of like Golurk, but in a little bit different, and I think a little bit cooler as well. So I really hope that Krookodile is gonna get that Shadow treatment eventually. I think it would be lovely to see, especially because it's gonna make it easier for you to even get this Pokemon. It can be quite tricky to get this Pokemon for the Great League, because usually you're going to only be able to get them from X, and for X, like, the level is just a little bit too low. I'm fairly certain that I got mine here from a research encounter that was available like only like one time or something, to be below that 1500 CP range, which is really rare. Even if you trade like one that is like hedged, basically, you're never really going to be able to get below that 1500 CP. And so I'm very happy about the one that I have here right now. Definitely a Pokemon that I like to play a little bit more as well, maybe in the future. As you can see here, we do a ton of damage. And of course, it would be better for Krookodile if I had better IVs on this Pokemon, for sure. That is without doubt here. But also, of course, if it would be Shadow, especially with the Brick Break, able to nerf the opponent's defense, it is just a very cool sweeper. As you can see in the battle as well, the opponent decides to even forfeit. So, let's take a look at the next opponent. We're going to see the low kicks coming in here. I'm just going to check real quick if the Shadow variant actually is going to be better. It seems kind of like it's being a neutral, not really changing too much for this Pokemon, but I'm fairly certain that, the Krookodile is, generally speaking, very solid as a Shadow, like especially in the 2-shield scenario. If you take a look, by the way, currently at the normal Krookodile in the 2-shield scenario for the current Halloween Cup meta, it wins 17 matchups and loses only 7 of the matchups, which kind of showcases on how overpowered this Pokemon is in the 2-shield scenario. Having a 70.8% win rate in the 2 shields is ridiculous. And I think maybe it's even better than Golurk. I'm just going to check on the site here real quick as well. Golurk is going to have, Golurk has a way lower, just a 50% chance to win the matchup than 2 shields. Again, like, it's very cool to see Krookodile being such a strong pick for the meta. You can use, by the way, also the pre-evolution. The pre-evolution might be even a little bit better, but it's just way more expensive than the Krookodile. That's why Krokorok has actually worse stats than this Pokemon for whatever reason, but also doesn't have Brick Break. So I would say Krookodile is the better Pokemon to go for, and definitely worth running for the current meta. Here's one of the issues where I would have liked to have 3 charge moves with Crunch, the fast move of Muds, and of course the Brick Break there, as well as the Earthquake. Earthquake would have been really nice here. And so sadly, this battle against the low kicks, we are going to lose, but it's going to be fine here, as you're gonna still have a lot of wins to come. Anyway, next opponent. We're going to have a horrible lead with the Golurk. We can swap out straight away into our Raticate, getting up to that Crunch very fast. This Crunch is going to force a shield from the opponent. Now it's going to be a guessing game. Do they go for the Shadow Punch? Do they go for the other move here? Oh, we're going to get the defense drop, which is cool. Do they going to go for the Dynamic Punch? They decided to just, go for the Shadow Punch with them. That's totally fine. They only go to a Greninja. where they're gonna be forced to go for a Hydro Cannon or to do anything. But we're actually in a very solid spot. We know, of course, already about the Golurk, but also we're gonna be able to go for the full farm down against the Greninja, getting a ton of energy for the matchup against the Golurk. We're going to be able to let the move go through, just go for the full farm down and get a ton of energy. That energy is just going to be worth it for us anyway. Like, we're gonna see definitely that this is going to help us out later on. They might be able to still reach another move here, that is fine, but we're gonna end up with basically 2 Brine stored, which is gonna be basically perfect to counter that Golurk. Let's see what's coming in next. It is going to be very likely not the Golurk, it is going to be actually a Clodsire. And with this, we're going to have 2 Pokemon that are kinda weak against our Krookodile here, or it's Krookodile, it's actually Krookodile, that's fine, not the Krokorok. And we're gonna be able to go ahead and go for the full farm down against the opponent here. I was thinking about going for a Crunch, but I decided to rather get the energy for the next matchup afterwards. And I do think it's going to be the correct call as well, as we're going to go straight for the Crunch. I could also go for the Brick Break, but I didn't really want to risk the bait here. But I should have... No, I actually shouldn't have done that. It actually worked out in my favor here. We're going to be able to go for another move as well. Crunch coming through is going to not get a single defense drop, which will have helped us out a little bit here, but we can still go for the Brine, knock them out, win the battle, and move on to the next opponent. So, let's see what the next one is going to have. Skeldritch. This looks like a Pokemon that I should be able to beat with my team, right? We're going to have 2 Dark types and a Water type Pokemon against, Fire and Ghost type. And you might wonder, why did he try to catch a move there? It is actually not a good matchup. It is not a good matchup for 2 of my Pokemon, while typing-wise, it looks like Eradicate as well as my my lead there is going to have a great time. They actually don't. They really don't. Like, we're going to have here a Quick Attack user against the Ghost type Pokemon. They outspeed me, they have super effective hits against me. And then we're going to have an Incinerate user against a Poison Jab user. Both of us are going to be resisted, but they're going to generate energy faster. They have the better fast move, generally speaking. And they have Stab Shadow Ball against me. And Brine is a horrible move. And so, while on paper, Skeldritch looks like a great matchup for this team, it actually isn't. It actually really isn't. And so we kind of want to rely here on our Krookodile to hopefully win the battle. We're going to see them swap out here as well, and they're going to have the Azumarill on the back, kind of hard walling us here, sadly. And with this, we're not going to be able to do really anything. We can go still for the Brick Break, drop the opponent's defense, and look at the fast move damage from me. It's kind of nice to see such a nice, amount of fast move damage there. As you're going to see here, I'm decided to not go for a charge move because for the opponent, they know that they're going to be able to hard wall me anyway here, and my only play is to get as much energy as possible, which doesn't work out either. They're still going to get to another charge move, and so sadly we're going to lose this battle. But it's going to be okay. The Skeldritch is just a little bit too tough right now to deal with, but we can at least move on to the next opponent afterwards. So, let's see what we're going to have next. We're going to have Toxapex against the Gastrodon. This is going to be a matchup where you kind of want to stay in for a little bit, but I would not really recommend you to get rid of your Toxapex that early. And that is something that's kind of important for this one. You have 2 Dark types in the back, and the main reason why I decided to go for the Eradicate, and this is something that I would change as well for, okay, the opponent stops out, where you can now at least double resist the fast move from the opponent. This is something I would change for the next time I would want to run this team. I would not go for Hyper Fang on the Eradicate. I would still go for Shadow Eradicate. This Pokemon was very good for me, generally speaking, but I would go for Hyper Beam. Hyper Beam makes so much more sense. You have the best lead against the Azumarill. You're going to have a Saisorb, which I want to have here as a Dark type that can still deal with Azumarill, but you are not doing enough damage. And I feel like Hyper Beam might be the one missing piece for this team in order to be a little bit more consistent, a little bit better, as Eradicate is struggling a little bit with that Hyper Fang. Hyper Fang just does a little bit more damage than Crunch, just barely, but it's not really a great move itself. I think it does like 85 damage for like 50 energy or something like this. It is not bad either, but like it is not the best move ever. And so I feel like Hyper Beam would make a lot of sense on this Pokemon, would have most likely helped me out in a few matchups as well. Here we're going to see the Scissor in the back, and this is going to be a tough one to still win. We're going to still try our best here. Crunch is coming through, we have to hope for the debuff. And we do get the debuff, which is really good for us, because now we can go for the Brine, which is going to be neutral, which is going to be buffed from the nerf on their defense. And as you're going to see, the opponent is quite low. And maybe this was a bit of a mistake. Nah, I don't think so actually. I decided to use a shield here. The opponent still goes for another move afterwards. It is very likely going to knock me out. I was actually expecting a Trailblaze, which I feel like was better for the opponent anyway. But at least we're still going to be able to get a draw here. Next up, we're going to have the Gastrodon against us in lead. Again, you kind of want to stay in for a little bit, go for one Sludge Wave and then swap out afterwards. I think this is the best play of battling against a Gastrodon, as Sludge Wave is going to allow you to just have a yeah, a little bit of chip damage against them, or get the shield, which is even better in my opinion actually for me, because I have Hyper Fang here, which Hyper Fang actually is good for this matchup because you get a little bit faster, but the Hyper Fang would be able to knock them out. But not only this, I also would have still Mud Slap and Brick Break, and both of them going to be fine as well. Here we want to encounter a very bad matchup for me. It's going to be Ariados, and you might think, oh, why is he using a shield here? Why is he going for a crunch? The main reason for this is I kind of want to get them low enough that I can fully farm them down with my Toxa packs, but I'm not too sure I'm actually going to be able to do that, as here I then decide to just keep energy on my Eradicate for later on. I can swap out now, I have a ton of energy stored for later, and they still go for a charge move here, which is really nice for me. It's going to be very likely the lunge. It is a Trailblaze, it's actually even better for me, as I swap out into their own Toxa pack. So I have to be a little bit careful here, but there's still a chance of me winning this battle, I would say, as we can go for the Sludge Wave. We're going to be able to do some solid damage against the opponent. We have to see that we're going to still be able to win this battle. I can still reach another Sludge Wave, but I lose a CMP tie. I have 0 attacks, so like, that is kind of understandable. Very cool, by the way, to see the shiny variant of it. I like the shiny. I have the shiny as well in the main series games, but yeah, this Pokemon is a very cool one. But as you can see here, Brain is a horrible move. It doesn't do damage. Then they swap out into the Gastrodon. I can go for the Brick Break. Brick Break is quite underrated, as it's going to be able to now drop the opponent's defense. But I would need to hope now that Eradicate is going to be able to win the battle for me. And I kind of misplay this a little bit here. I should just trusted my Eradicate to go for the full farm down. This is the only way of winning. But I decided to, yeah, kind of screw it up on myself. If I went for the full farm down, which I could have done there, I still maybe had a chance of winning this one, because I would have been able to get rid of the Toxa packs. But I still think it would have been most likely not enough. So yeah, good game to the opponent here, well played, and we can move on to the next one. So, we're going to have a Zoomer on the lead. That's kind of fine. Again, here we're going to have a great lead matchup. They're going to swap out into the Moltres, and we have to be a little bit careful here. I'm going to try to go for Umbreon just to get a little bit of damage against them, just to see also where they kind of want to go with this Pokemon. They decided to let the move go through, which I guess I should have maybe went up to the Sludge Wave. And as you're going to see here, we're going to go into Eradicate. I'm going to decide to let the move go through. Shadow Eradicate is going to be able to take that one. Actually, it's a very bulky Pokemon, Shadow Eradicate. We're going to be able to even use a shield here against the next one. It's going to be another Ancient Power, but we're going to be able to align ourselves. And alignment is kind of key for this matchup, as we know already about like the lead matchup here of the Azumarill, which is going to be great for the Toxa packs. So it just depends on if I find a Pokemon in the back that is going to be okay for our Krookodile to at least weaken. Here we have the Hyper Fang coming through again. I would have enjoyed having a little bit more damage there with a Hyper Beam instead. But as you're going to see, this is going to be great farm down potential for our Toxa packs, which is going to now feast on Pokemon. Then you're going to go into the Ariados, and it's looking a little bit awkward. I was a bit slow in swapping out, and this being a little bit slow is literally just changes everything. But also, maybe I should have let the move go through. I kind of want to see real quick how much damage the Ariados would have done against me. Like, I have a very bad IV spread, which I feel like is really kind of holding me down a bit with this Pokemon. I think Krookodile would be a bit better. But Trailblaze does 64%. I should have let the move go through. I just should have let the move go through. Even, I guess, like, let me see, when I have no defense, basically, then it would do 70%. I still think I should have just let the move go through, and I had a chance of winning this battle. So again, there are going to be some stuff that you can improve as well for yourself. A lot of things that I could have done a little bit better myself though. And that's totally fine. Like, I mean, that's totally fine. This is all kind of what we would at least learn from. Like, we kind of just want to learn here from our mistakes to improve on. We're still very, very close, by the way, to the Legend range. I want to hit it during the Great League. I actually don't really want to hit it during this period right now, because I think it would be kind of more interesting for more people to see a Legend team from me. And I kind of would like to do it like last season, where I analyze the meta, try to figure out a team that can completely counter the meta. Stuff like this is something that I would love to do here for this season again as well. And this would be something I would need a little bit more practice still in the Open Great League to see what is actually the meta for it. But yeah, if you want to see this, then feel free to leave a like as well. But again, I would not like to hit Legend in this current cup just for content's sake. But anyway, we're going to see the Hydro King coming through from the opponent. Crunch is going to come through here afterwards as well again. And this is going to be fine. It is going to drop the opponent's defense. I can swap out now as the defense drop came in. We see already the Greninja is taking a ton of damage from our Krookodile. Mud Slap is just chunking away. In comes the Drifblim, and I can go for the crunch here against the opponent. This forcing the shield here as well, and also they have to go for their own charge move very, very fast, as they even gonna get the defense drop onto themselves, which I don't think really matters because we have 2 Shadow Pokemon against each other after this Icy Wind, and I think a Crunch will have knocked them out anyway. But we can overfarm by a little bit as well, which is gonna make this a little bit easier for the matchup afterwards against the Greninja. We just have to hit basically 1 Crunch here, and we're gonna be able to do that, and with this, we're going to be able to win the battle. Thanks all for watching. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I will see you then. Bye bye.